We end today on just one of those lighthearted segments that's for me to have a good time. Hopefully you too. It's funny, got me laughing really hard. I'm not going to provide a bunch of thoughtful analysis on this one. I can warn you of that. But what I'm about to show you is pretty hysterical. And as is the case, unfortunately, with so many of these lighthearted stories, as I call them, if you think a little bit deeper on them, still very scary as to what they mean and how they reflect on the current state of American politics. But let's not think about that. Let's just have a good time for a few minutes. So the Lincoln Project, an organization of former Republicans who effectively through their content call out Donald Trump as they should, put together a video that is so funny that takes all these different things that Fox News and Fox News hosts specifically have said about Joe Biden in regard to him being senile and he doesn't know where he is and he doesn't know who his wife is and his brain isn't functioning and he has dementia. And then through creative switch ups of the graphics and splicing in of videos of Trump makes it seem like they're not talking about Biden, but they're talking about Trump based on his gaffes and his little situations we've talked about and his cognitive state. And I will say, of course, Biden obviously has seen a pretty significant decrease in his communication abilities. And I think that's a product of him aging, and that's definitely notable. But what bothers me is people take that so much farther than it actually is and then say he can't think and he doesn't know anything about what he's doing and he is being controlled by people behind the scenes. And when you look at the plethora of behind the scenes reporting, he's very engaged on the details of decisions being made and policies being pushed forward. And he, in extended form, videos, interviews, speeches, obviously knows what the heck is going on. He just often has gaffes and definitely is not as sharp as he used to be communication wise. But then the little clips definitely go viral, and that's kind of the whole perception that people have, and they take that way farther than the evidence I think actually reveals or points to. But then the same people, super hyperbolic about Biden, then ignore completely Trump's struggles. So before showing you the ad, here is the moment that I think inspired the video that the Lincoln Project put together in his weekend speech, where he just had a lot of trouble trying to figure out what the heck he was saying.
As you know, crooked Joe Biden and the radical left thugs who have weaponized law enforcement to arrest their leading political opponent, and leading by a lot, including Obama. I'll tell you what, you take a look at Obama and take a look at some of the things that he's done. This is the same thing. The country was very divided. And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won. We beat Hillary Clinton. Now, you know, I used to call her Crooked Hillary. $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and say it was.
By the way, someone asked, is the clip, or whoever put out the clip, is that where the music's coming from? This plays at Trump's events. At the end of his speeches, dramatic music plays while he talks. But look at this next moment in case you missed this.
Fact, where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation and the FBI knew it wasn't. But 51 intelligence agents said it was, and they knew it wasn't also. And a Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting, irregularities, and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and possible nuclear war. Just think of it. We would be in World War II very quickly.
We would be in World War II as dramatic music plays if Biden continues leading. What? And then before that, and he's saying that Biden's cognitively impaired. I always just give a lot of the benefit of the doubt to people when they're speaking, because I just know doing this, I've had my own weird slip ups, and I get that Obama pops out of your mouth, you're thinking about the next point, whatever it is. It's the way that he doesn't just go Biden. He goes well, you look at Obama, and Obama was dividing the country, and we won a big election against Obama with Hillary. What? That's just so incoherent. And then while he's in that same sentence or near it, he's saying that Biden's cognitively impaired. Then he goes, Biden's going to lead us into World War II. It's too ironic. And then here is the masterpiece from the Lincoln Project. Again, for our podcast listeners, so you can imagine, it's playing clips from Fox News hosts. They're speaking about Biden, but on screen, they've made it look like they're covering stories about Donald Trump.
He's too old. He's out of touch, losing his marbles at an alarming rate.
They have sinks where no water comes out. You turn it on, no water comes out. You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen this, and you turn on the sink, and it's very little.
I do want to remind everybody, this is the guy that worked with the former Klansman.
I will be Donald Trump's most loyal advocate to make sure his nominees go to the Supreme Court.
Full of his struggles and ramblings and rantings and mumbling and bumbling and stumbling. You decide. Take a look.
They've deliberately surrendered our border to vicious coyotes and drug smugglers. I mean, these the smuggler.
I find it awkward. I find it embarrassing. He's really in the early stages of some kind of senile dementia.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings.
It's more than awkward and embarrassing. It's actually dangerous. Having someone with his mental state, to me, is terrifying.
She speaks in rhyme.
In rhyme? What do you?
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there, because that's what buses do.
Because here and there definitely rhyme.
It's weird.
He can't finish a sentence.
Anonymous, really anonymous.
The man doesn't know where he's going. He doesn't know where the exit is. He's not sure how to get through his speech.
Mr. President, you need to sign it.
Old, outdated, retire, elderly, aging, senile, dementia, slow, confused, idiot, ignorant, sleepy, gap, bumbling, bad, terrible, disappointing, joke, profanity.
Being corrupt is bad. Being corrupt and senile is even worse.
Whew. That's incredible. And it's funny because it's not even his worst moments, but the way they made it look like it was Trump that was being talked about, just really, really clever. Not because even a whataboutism is relevant to a conversation about Biden's mental acuity. And that's why I'm totally willing to talk about Biden and where I think he's actually at, not the hyperbolic characterization, but also not saying that nothing's changed. And I do, based on the evidence I've seen, it seems to be a communication related thing, not an actual mental acuity thing, just actually delivering the info communication wise. And you can feel free to disagree. But then to ignore these moments where it just seems so confusing what Trump's trying to say or do, and even just his speaking style, trying to transcribe what he says is just so difficult, and trying to then read back what is being said in his bizarre, fragmented way of speaking. But regardless, like I said, not a whole lot of analysis, just definitely funny to see at the end of today's show.